So one day, this guy, Sonny, he gets a virus that damages his heart. And it's horrible. It makes him weak. He feels sick all the time. Sometimes he can't even stand up on his own. Sonny needs a new heart. So he goes and he puts his name on the transplant list, hoping to find a new donor. And then he waits. Meanwhile, about 60 miles away, there's this guy, Terrence. And Terrence is a normal dude living in the suburbs. But one day, Terrence gets into an argument with his wife, this woman, Cheryl. So Terrence gets into an argument with Cheryl about money, and then, sadly, he goes and he gets a pew-pew, and he unalives himself. And this is tragic for everyone, except for Sonny. Because fortunately for Sonny, Terrence's heart is a near perfect match for him. So then Sonny gets a transplant with Terrence's heart, and the operation goes great, and within about 6 months, he's back to living his normal life. He's like fishing and doing all the stuff he was doing before. I mean, he's just happy he gets to live. In fact, Sonny is so happy with his new heart, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna write a letter to Terrence's family and say thank you. So he writes the letter, and he gets the organ procurement agency to forward that letter on to Terrence's wife, Cheryl. And then Cheryl writes him back. And then Sonny and Cheryl exchange another letter and then some photos. And then eventually Cheryl calls Sonny and they decide to meet in person for dinner. And so they're at dinner and Sonny sees Cheryl in person for the first time and he falls hard. Like he starts liking her romantically. While Cheryl thinks Sonny's cool and all, but Sonny is already married to another woman, while Cheryl is already engaged to another man. Regardless, over the next few years, Sonny and Cheryl start secretly getting romantic anyway. And he ends up divorcing his wife and she ends up divorcing her husband. And then Sonny and Cheryl move in together and start a new life. I mean, sure, Sonny's got Terrence's heart and his wife, but whatever, things are going great for them. Yeah! Until things are not going great for them. Because over time, their relationship starts to break down. I guess Sonny and Cheryl are fighting a lot and it's just not working out. And less than a year later, she leaves him. And from there, it gets real ugly. I guess she had borrowed money from him and then he sues her for not paying him back, while she countersues him, saying that he threatened her. It's a whole mess. But during all this drama, Cheryl finds a new love and she gets married again. And within a year, that relationship fails too. So then Cheryl, I guess, feeling lonely, she starts hitting up Sonny again. And Sonny's into it and they start talking and they reconnect and soon they start falling back in love again. So finally, this couple is together and they're happy. And years go by and Sonny, he just wants to give Cheryl the world. He buys her whatever she wants, whatever she asks for, whatever he thinks she wants, and in doing so, he racks up a huge amount of debt, and he burns through all the money in his retirement account. And over time, Sonny's friends and family start to notice he's changed. He's just no longer the happy, cheerful guy they always knew. Now he's moody and he's bummed out, but poor Sonny, he doesn't say anything to anyone. He just lets them keep thinking nothing's wrong. But then, one day, almost 13 years exactly since Terrence got into an argument with Cheryl about money, and then he took out a pew-pew and unalived himself, Sonny gets into an argument with Cheryl about money, and then he goes and gets a pew-pew and he unalives himself. It's a crazy story. Shout out to South Carolina. This is Catherine, and Catherine can't get over this sinking feeling that her husband is cheating on her. Now, her husband is this guy, Mason. And Mason's a lawyer, he has his own law firm, and Catherine thinks Mason might be cheating on her. So, she confronts him. And instead of denying it, he's basically like, yeah, I'm cheating with the woman at work, and I want a divorce. So then Catherine and Mason separate. And Catherine is heartbroken. I mean, they've been married 11 years, and she doesn't want to give up so easily. So she asks him, can we at least try couples therapy? And Mason's like, fine. And then about 2 weeks later, they're in couples therapy in one of those sessions with a therapist, and there is where Catherine drops a bomb on them. Boom. She's pregnant. This will be her and Mason's third kid together. And Mason isn't too happy about this. He's like, this totally ruins my plans. This makes me look like a jerk. And that is when therapist steps in and is like, why don't y'all take the whole family on a little vacation together? Maybe that'll be good for you. So Catherine and Mason do just that. They pack up the kids and go on a little vacation out to West Texas. And to be fair, at this point on the vacation, things are going pretty well. Mason's being nice. He's being attentive. Even after the vacation, Catherine's at home, and that morning he stops by her house. And he brings her breakfast and he brings her water so she can stay hydrated. And yeah, surprisingly, it seems like things in this relationship might be turning around. No, they're not. About 30 minutes after she eats that breakfast he brought her, she starts feeling sick. She has really bad diarrhea, she's cramping, and she's bleeding, which is not good when you're pregnant. Then she starts bleeding even more, and she's like, I gotta get this checked out. So she goes to the ER, and by the time she's at the ER, her urine is nearly black. Something is very wrong. And doctors look at her, and they can't figure out what this is or what seems to be causing these symptoms. So she goes home. And the next day, Mason comes over to her house again to check on her, and he brings her an orange sports drink. Maybe that'll make her feel better. But Catherine remembers the breakfast he had brought her and how she had felt sick afterwards. More specifically, she remembers the water he brought and how that water looked a little cloudy. And that's when she realizes this is trying to poison me. So she accepts the orange sports drink from Mason, but she discreetly doesn't drink it. Instead, she saves it as evidence. 3 days later, Mason comes back over again to see her, and he brings her another drink. And again, she secretly doesn't drink it. The next day, he comes over again, and he brings her a bottle of orange juice. And again, she says thank you, but she low-key doesn't drink it. See, she knows he's putting something in her drinks, but she also knows she has to prove it. So Catherine comes up with a plan. She goes and she has cameras installed both inside and outside her house. About a month later, she hits Mason up. And of course, he comes over and he brings her a drink. And she says thanks again, but she secretly doesn't drink it. And while he's there, he cleans out his truck really quick. He just gets a bunch of trash out of it and he throws it away in her trash bin outside. Now, Catherine doesn't see him do this, but her cameras do. And when she notices this on the footage, she waits till he leaves and she goes out and she gets everything out of the bin that he threw away. And she sifts through it, and that is when she finds empty packs of abortion pills. He had been putting these pills into her drinks because he really doesn't want a new baby with her, and he's trying to induce a miscarriage. So then 2 days later, he comes over to see Catherine and the kids again. And of course, he goes into the kitchen to make her a drink. And when no one is looking, he quietly pulls out a Ziploc bag out of his pocket full of powder, and he empties that bag into the drink he's making her. Little does he know, he's doing all this on camera, one of the hidden cameras Catherine had installed. So then Catherine goes to police with all this footage and all these samples of these drinks she had saved. And it shows that in total, Mason had tried to spike her drinks 7 different times. So police go and arrest him, here's his mugshot, he goes to court, he pleads guilty, and he's sentenced to 180 days in jail. Wow. And now the baby is 1 year old, and she was born 10 weeks prematurely and has developmental delays. Shout out to Texas, I guess. One day, this guy goes out to the curb to collect his empty trash bins, and as he's wheeling his bins back, he notices the recycling bin is heavier than normal. So he turns it over and he dumps it out, and he finds a human foot. Now, the foot, unfortunately, belongs to this woman. Her name's Ingrid. And Ingrid is very nice. She's a single mom, 3 kids. And one day she meets someone on a dating app. This guy, John. And they talk for about a month, and then they go on a date. That date goes smoothly, and soon enough, they're going on 3-4 dates a week. And it seems like things are going pretty well. But John is always staying over at Ingrid's place. And after dating for about a month or so, Ingrid comes to the realization that John is always staying at her place because he doesn't have a place of his own. He's allegedly homeless. He also doesn't have a steady job either. But Ingrid doesn't seem to mind. I mean, I don't know, maybe this is just a casual fling for her. But one night, she sends her kids with her ex-husband so that she can go out on a date with John. And she drives and she picks him up and they go see a baseball game. Then they have a good time and they're drinking a lot and they make it back to Ingrid's house. And that is where things go horribly wrong. Because fast forward to the next morning and Ingrid's ex-husband comes over to her house because he's gonna drop the kids back off. And he knocks on her door, but no one answers. He calls, he texts, still no answer. Then he notices her car's not even there. So ex-husband starts to worry. So he calls Ingrid's mom. And Ingrid's mom rushes over, she has a spare key. So they go inside and Ingrid's not there, but her phone and her wallet are. And weirdly, the place smells like bleach. Not to mention, there's a pruning saw in the bathroom for some reason. So Ingrid's mom is now worried. She calls the police and the police start looking into it. Now Ingrid and her mom actually share a Verizon account. So mom checks Ingrid's phone records and she sees a phone number coming up a lot. And she looks the number up and that number is connected to a Facebook account. John's Facebook account. So mom starts texting this number. Hey, Ingrid's missing. Have you seen her? And John replies like, we went to a baseball game and after that I left. I didn't stay the night. And then mom is texting him like 1,000 more follow-up questions, but John stops replying. He just completely ghosts her. So no one knows what happened to Ingrid, there's no trace of her, and John isn't being very helpful. Until around the time mom is texting John, this poor guy is at home. We'll just call him Guy. And Guy is at home and he walks out to the curb to collect his empty trash bins, and as he's wheeling them back, he notices his recycling bin is heavier than normal. So he turns it over and he dumps it out and he finds 3 plastic bags. In those plastic bags are human parts. A head, a foot, an arm. So he's weirded out and he reports it to police. And the police show up and they identify the body, of course, as Ingrid. Then they also find other parts of her in other locations around the city. And they also find Ingrid's car downtown, abandoned. Now John, he was the last one seen with Ingrid, so police bring him in and they question him. And of course he says, I have no idea what happened to Ingrid. Now this is one of those stories where we actually know what really happened to Ingrid, but we don't know why it happened and we don't know the details. So here's what we know. John and Ingrid go on a date to go see a baseball game. They have a good time, they're drinking a lot, and they make it back to Ingrid's house. Now the two are at Ingrid's house, alone, and for some reason, John suddenly snaps, and he gets violent, like really violent, and he attacks Ingrid, and he strangles her to death. And then he drags her over, and he puts her in the bathtub, then he uses a pruning saw to dice her into smaller parts. Then he steals her car and he drives around and he dumps all the parts of her in various places around the city, including Guy's recycling bin. So eventually, luckily, police arrest John, here's his mugshot, and he ultimately pleads guilty and he admits that it was him who unalived her. And he's sentenced to a little under 28 years in prison, and to this day, we still have no idea why John just suddenly decided to do this. Shout out to Washington.